Forces Retirement Home in D.C., formerly known as the Old Soldiers Home, sits on 270 acres alongside Lincoln's Cottage, which was at one point known as the Second White House. When you walk through the gate onto the grounds, it's hard to believe that a place like this is still thriving in our nation's capital. Beautiful open lawns with a majestic bell tower, a golf course, over 1,000 private rooms for residents, and all the amenities a resident might need. The most amazing thing about this home is that all the residents are military veterans. I was first introduced to the campus and the activities by Lori Thompson, who had just taken the position of art specialist at the home. I was amazed to find out that amidst the residents at the home, there were artists who had been provided with amazing resources to display their art and show their diverse talents. There was even an art colony where visual artists were given his or her own studio to paint, work with wood, or just simply create. I was blown away by the dedication to the arts amidst these military veterans. Lori was kind enough to take us on a tour of the home and introduce us to several of the resident artists. We met some amazing characters and were struck by the heroism in each of their individual stories. Our first stop was a group of woodworkers. From the practical to the risque, these artists showed that they were among the best in their craft.
I entered the Korean War in 1950, and then I traveled to about 17 different countries in my military career. In 1986, my marriage broke up and bought me an RV, and I needed a hobby that was small enough that I could haul in my RV, yet cheap enough that I could afford.
Okay.
Well, a knife and a piece of wood is really all you need, you know. Most of my artwork is Southwestern.
Okay.
Cowboy Southwestern. Now, that old cabin wasn't as pretty as it is in the picture. It was a ramshackle shack, actually. I dressed it up a little bit to put it in the picture.
You know, my first day here, I ate lunch with a man who was at Pearl Harbor. And the stories that he told me that day was like, wow. I feel so honored to work with this population.
I joined the Navy in 1945 and I stayed in it until 1975. I was ripe for Korea. I was on the USS Missouri, a battleship. After my wife passed away in '02, I had no place to go, so I sold my home and came into the Armed Forces Retirement Home, and it's been my happy home ever since.
Most of our vets are war vets.
Sure.
You know, whether it was World War II, the Korean War, Nam, Gulf War, you know, and so that during that period of their life, they just kind of held it in. And that's what's so neat, is to just see them go, wow, this is really, you know, I never thought I'd be doing this, and really embracing their creativity and showing a part of themselves that I'm sure that before they didn't even explore.
I spent 21 years in the Navy, cooking for admirals and captains and all that. Before then, I was taking fine arts in the University of Hawaii, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and I didn't graduate because I went to the service. I was in Vietnam, but I didn't go inland. I was just on a boat, on a ship, because I was an aircraft carrier. Senator McCain's father was my boss at one time, 4-star admiral. I lost my home when I got my divorce, you know, and I'm probably one of those guys on the street, you know, right now if they don't have this.
It's an honor to work for them and to be a part of making this a warm and inviting place to be.
As we ventured across campus to visit some of the painters, we were overcome by the history and the beauty of this campus. Mimi was kind enough to spend a few minutes with us and to share a few of her creations.
It was a patriotic period. So I served 2 years. I was in the photo lab technician, And they sent me to India, to the China-Burma-India Theater in Calcutta. That was the headquarters. And I did some artwork there, and I was in the photo lab. And I discovered this place, didn't even know it existed. And I think it pretty well saved me, you know, financially and everything else at a time like that. When I called here and I got my orders to show up, I said, gee, I'm going to have to throw away my studio. Oh, no, they said, we've had studios here. And so I hired a truck and brought everything I owned. I just brought the whole studio with me, and I enjoy it. And fortunately, we've been very lucky here. I mean, a studio like this in New York would cost me several $1,000s a month. And I had never really done any oils, even in college. I had, I think, 1 or 2 oil classes, and you know, went like this. I hated it. But I started it here. One of our artists, John Bednar, as a matter of fact, had a class. And so he was showing me what to do with the oil. The closest I can get from drawing from a model now is to do some portraits.
And so what does the Armed Forces Retirement Home mean to you now?
Well, it's home. It's home. You know, it's a place where all your needs are met and more. This being more. We have a golf course, which I love. We have bowling alleys. We have Lori. She's terrific.
She's
I mean, she really comes through with all kinds of good stuff, you know, things to do. So it keeps you enjoying life.
Anything new that we do, they just, you know, they really appreciate it, but they take off with it. It is their home, and a lot of these people gave their lives to keep us free, you know, and
Sure.
and so I feel like it's kind of like what they want to do is that's what we do.
I came here about 8 years ago to Soldiers Home. I ran into some difficulty and I found out I was eligible to come here and live. Coming back from the war, we suffer from the horrors of war. Being a machine gunner, I've seen a lot of stuff you don't really want to talk about. And it took me 30 years. I'm still in the process of getting beyond that. So art is a therapy that helps cope with those days that are, you can still remember, and it's been like 40 years and I can still remember it like that. Trying to refit into society from war, you can, it's very difficult, although many of us veterans, we had to go basically underground to hide from what was society, was the way it was moving, because we had no means of coming back into society. We were just like war, and then you go home and you can restart your life. And it's very difficult without some outlets. Art gives me an outlet to a sense of keeping in touch with what makes me me.
Mike was definitely the most excited about showing his work and had a flair from the Southwest in his paintings.
I'm working on Southwestern paintings here. I do 3 types of paintings: city street scenes of Washington, and then fantasy butterflies, and then Southwest. Okay, Southwest is where I came from. I'm from New Mexico, and I'm and really basically the East is different from me and the city scenes, but I do live here and I do like it here. However, to go home, I paint Southwestern. I came out of the closet in 1995 at the age of 54. Although I knew I was kind of gay from the age of 5, but I always wanted to be married. So I thought if I stay married, I might be able to change my sexual orientation. Well, it didn't work. So when I came out of the closet, I being that I like street scenes and the city scenes, then I started painting DuPont Circle, and I didn't start painting until the age of 29, so I did sketches before that.
Okay.
But by coming into the home, it allowed me to then develop.
You know, for me, when I came here, you know, it was run like a military base. You know, the parade grounds behind us, you know, haven't been parade grounds for 40 years, but they couldn't have chairs out there. Okay. You know, and as you see, there are, you know, lawn chairs scattered throughout our place because every part of our facility is their home. You know, we don't wear suits and ties unless we have, you know, a professional visitor, Secretary, you know, Defense, or, you know, state visit, and there are a lot of people that come through our, you know, thousands every year, and we want the residents to know that it's their home. So, you know, we're here because of them. You know, they're not here because of us. Some of it is creativity, some of it's therapeutic, but a lot of it is just, hey, I feel a value. You know, and I love people to find those people who appreciate my work. The art is very personal, and, you know, we try to encourage anybody and everybody to do whatever type of art they want.
As we think about home, it may seem like an easy place or idea to define, but maybe it's unique to every individual. The Armed Forces Retirement Home is home to these artists, while other veterans don't have a home at all, at least not a physical one.
I think being around heroes is probably my best motivation. And some of them, not me, I don't even claim to be a hero in any way, but a lot of these folks went through hell in the Pacific and Europe and Battle of the Bulge and places like that.
Can you tell us what home means to you?
Well, it's a period of time, I guess, between major events, you know, like being born and getting independent, and then getting married, having a family, and the family dissolves, and then you go into a place like this, you retire, and then you drop dead finally. I mean, it's all those major events, and in between is this nice, stable period where your needs are met.
What I realized after filming this documentary was that as beautiful as this home is, what makes it special is the people that live here. These men and women are artists who just happen to be veterans and have a story to tell through their art. We will not let their stories be told without being heard, or their art to sit without being seen. These individuals represent generations of service, of wars, conflicts, and a family. They are heroes, veterans, artists,